Eagles. Welcome to Niceville High School for the 23-24 school year. You are glad you're here. My name is Mr. Morello, and I am just so lucky and honored to be the principal at Niceville High School. I went to school here. I love all things Eagles, and I do bleed maroon. So I'm going to go over with you a couple of handbooks. The green one that you see here, this is the school district student handbook, student code of conduct. And then this will be the Niceville High School handbook. So first we're going to start in the green. There's also a sign-in sheet that your teachers will give you to be sure that you sign off on the fact that you were given the code of conduct and that it was gone over with you. So we're going to start on the inside of the green handout with the student pledge. All Okaloosa County students pledge to attend all classes daily and on time, be prepared for class with proper materials, be respectful to all individuals and property, conduct themselves in a safe and responsible manner, be well-groomed and clean, be responsible for your own work, and abide by all rules and regulations set forth by the school and the individual classroom teacher. So let's skip over to the middle of the page here where it talks about disciplinary consequences over here. Now these are some things, it's not an inclusive list, but these are some things that we do use as consequences for disciplinary infractions at Niceville High School. Timeout, detention. It lists Saturday detention, but we actually do not do that here at NHS. Withdrawing privileges. We could tell you you're no longer welcome to attend football games or any extracurricular activities because of your behavior. The STP program, which is a fancy name for in-school suspension, out-of-school suspension, alternative placement, expulsion, and a behavior expectation agreement. So before a student gets alternatively placed, depending on what the infraction is, they could be placed on a behavior expectation agreement, which basically gives you maybe just 1 or 2 or 3 more strikes, and then it's time for a referral for alternative placement if you cannot adhere to school policies. All right, grounds for disciplinary action. I'm on the bottom of page 3. There are some general infractions listed, such as tardy, skipping, disobedience, inappropriate language, dress code violations, defacing school property, improper use of a cell phone, or other inappropriate behavior. Also, additionally, number 11, willfully entering a restroom or changing facility on school property designated for the opposite sex and refusing to leave said property. There are more serious infractions on the middle of page 3 on my right. So these, a principal may suspend a student for these breaches of code of conduct, which are fighting, stealing, possession of tobacco, possession or being under the influence of alcoholic beverages, weapon offenses, threatening students or staff, violence against school personnel or students, sexual harassment, vandalism, disruptive behavior. And just a few of the, on the next page, on the top of page 4, bullying, hazing, violation of dress code. So those could be infractions that warrant an out-of-school suspension. All right, down at the bottom of page 4, we have the zero tolerance grounds for expulsion. What these means is these students have been found guilty to have committed these offenses and therefore will receive a 10-day suspension and a recommendation to the superintendent for your expulsion from Okaloosa County Schools. Homicide, sexual battery, armed robbery, aggravated assault, assault on a teacher, aggravated battery, kidnapping or abduction, arson, possession of an explosive destructive device, making a false report, or possession of any firearm as defined in Chapter 790. This also number 12 is the distribution, intent to distribute, sale, or multiple offenses of possession, use, or under the influence of a controlled substance or counterfeit substance said to be passed off as a controlled substance. And unfortunately, that has happened here as well. So basically, no weapons, no drugs of any type. Those are automatic expulsions. All right, we get into the school dress code, which we go in detail in the student handbook at Niceville High School. You see what happens on your first offense, second offense, and third offense. There is a chapter on dating violence, but I want to go to the middle of page 5 into the bullying. So the Okaloosa County has a very stiff bullying policy that says that we will not we will not be involved in any unwanted teasing, social exclusion, threat, intimidation, stalking, physical violence, cyber stalking, cyberbullying. That tends to be the lion's share of things that happen here as kids want to be mean over some social media stuff, and we certainly have grounds to address that as well. So the bullying policy, and I'll just be honest with you guys, I can't for the life of me see why someone wakes up in the morning and says, you know, today I'm just gonna be really mean to someone else because I feel like it. Those are behaviors that will not be tolerated in NHS. On the bottom of page 5, we have the wireless communication devices policy. know one change in the law is that teachers can require you to put your phone in a designated area in their classrooms. The designated area can be anything of their choosing. You'll see in some classes at Niceville they have sleeves on the wall for you to put your phone. Other teachers may tell you their designated place is to put it in a side pocket of your backpack. Teachers do carry the authority under law to designate a place for you to put your cell phones. All right, search and seizures on the bottom of page 5 and going over to the top of page 6. We do hold the right to a student's locker, vehicle, purse, backpack, and other possessions can be searched if there's reasonable belief that any of them contains drugs, weapons, contraband, or other items not permitted on school grounds. On the top of page 6, an off-campus felony. Just know that if you do get in trouble off of school grounds, it very well may result in disciplinary actions taken within the school if those charges are said to be something that could cause a disruption of the educational process at Niceville High School. Also on page 6 in the middle, we talk about bus transportation, and just know that riding the school bus is a privilege, not a right. So yes, that bus may come pick you up, but if you do not adhere to the conduct on school buses, that privilege can be taken against you and you will have to find your own way to school. Bottom of page 6, the blurb about participating in the Pledge of Allegiance. We expect all students to stand and recite the pledge with their hand over their hearts unless we have a written consent from their parents that you may be excused from saying the pledge. So if you would like to do that, you can. Just need something from your parents where you have the right to sit and remain quiet during the Pledge of Allegiance. All right, get into athletic eligibility in the middle of page 6 and what could make student athletes ineligible to participate in sports. I'm going to let you read through that. Mainly 6 with a 2.0 grade point average. And then on the bottom of page 6, all through page 7, is the equity policy for students, School Board Policy 4-34, which goes into great detail about what happens if you feel like you are treated inequitably or feel like want to make a complaint or say that someone has done some things to you that are not cool, harassment, bullying, stalking, whatever it might be. You come up and see myself, Mr. Wagner, Mr. McElroy, and we will launch an investigation. We will get to the bottom of that, and we will make that situation right for you. Okay, so a little bit, there's our green student handbook. Okay, that's our county code of conduct. Now we're going to segue over into the Niceville High School student handbook. Cover art here, a little thing about the cover. So that's actually a contest between our kids in digital design classes to design the cover. And this young lady graduated a few years ago and she designed a cover with, I'm going to guess that's me because of the goatee, with Superman cape on. I'm not Superman, but that's a super cool photo. So we decided to pick that for our cover art. All right, after you have a little welcome letter from me, we have the school district calendar, all the days off, all the days when the 9 weeks end and grades are finalized and due. Then we go into general student information on the next page, which contains your graduation requirements. For you freshmen, it gets real now. Some of you took some high school credit courses in the 8th grade. Some of you did not, but now it shows you need 4 English, 4 math, 3 social studies, 3 science, etc., etc. And your guidance counselor is going to do a great job of keeping you on track for graduation. There is the grading scale, the designation of honor graduates, what grade point average necessitates someone graduating with honors and getting that certain designation, which is a big deal. Activities and agenda books. So every student is given these books at the beginning of the 9 weeks. 9th graders are all going to be given one. We actually had an error, so we only ordered enough for 9th graders, but they sent us enough for everyone in the school. So we're going to hand those out, and you can have those. Athletics. For a student to participate in interscholastic athletics, they must have a completed physical, a valid birth certificate, satisfactory code of conduct, and have a 2.0 grade point average. And they also can only have 4 consecutive years of eligibility. So if for some reason you're in 9th grade now and you stay here an extra year, you only get to do sports for 4 years. We talked a little bit about bus transportation. The cafeteria at Niceville High School, those folks take good care of us. There is a PIN system for you to enter your number so you can get school lunches. We have made it over to dances on the top of the next page. NHS offers 2 major dances a year. That's homecoming. That's a semi-formal dance in the gym, and everyone is welcome to buy a ticket and come to that. And then prom is a formal dance attended only by seniors, or the dates of said seniors could be an underclassman if they so choose, and that is an off-campus event where formal attire is expected. No one 21 years or older will be permitted to attend, and if you have a student debt, you lost a book and you never paid for it, you will not be allowed to buy a ticket. All right, there's a little timeline of when you start taking some exams and some tests. Hall passes. All teachers will have a hall, nurse, and restroom pass. No student should be in the hallway at Niceville High School who do not carry a pass and been given permission from their teachers to leave class. All right, skip over to Library and Media Center on the top of the next page. So sometimes our Media Center gets used for a lot of school testing, so it's not always open, but the hours of school hours are when the Media Center is open. School lockers. It is, by and large, look around your room and ask any upperclassman, do you use a locker? And 98% of them will say, no, I just carry my stuff in a backpack. However, you see around school we have lots of lockers. If you want a locker, they are available upon request. They cost $5. Go to the front office and ask for Miss Sims, and she can assign you a locker, again, if you would like. Lost and found items can be found in the nurse's office or back with Miss Sims in the discipline office. Medication and injuries. If you have any checked-in medication, there is a process for your parents to come and do that through the nurse. You're not allowed to carry that stuff on you. And the nurse can call you up to give you your dosage of whatever medicine you may take. Parking procedures. We have sold these reserved spots, but listen up. If you drive to campus, you have to have a parking permit in your vehicle. It's $15. You go see Miss Sims in discipline. It's black this year. It hangs on the rearview mirror. But if we start seeing cars within the first, 2 or 3 weeks of school, all these cars parked on Old Coastal, which is unreserved parking without parking permits, deputies are going to start running your tags and calling you up, and you can either pay us $15 for a parking pass or you can park somewhere off campus. All the reserved spots have numbers. That is the band parking lot out in front of the band room and the lower parking lot, which is called the senior lot, but they all have numbers. Do not park in a numbered spot unless it is your spot and you have that black placard that says that number. Those are reserved. People paid extra money for those and came and waited in line to get those. If you park in a reserved spot, we're going to call you up and have you move your car the first time. Second time it happens, we're going to tell you you cannot drive to school anymore. We do hold the right to revoke driving privileges on campus, so you can park across the street at the church, or you can try to sneak your car in, park at Pep Boys and walk, but you cannot park on campus anymore if we revoke your privileges. So don't park in someone else's spot. Safety drills. We will do practice safety drills. We'll do fire drills, evacuation drills, bomb threat drills. We do those throughout the school year. You will know when those are happening. SOAR is what we call our homeroom. That's Student Opportunity for Advisory Resource. We only go to those when needed, like now. You're learning this stuff for the start of the school year, and then maybe at the beginning and end of each semester for other information we got to get to you. Student IDs on the next page. If you have a no class, you do not have 7 classes in NHS, you are required to go by room 314 or the Media Center, where we set it up to start school, and get your school ID. I have one right here. So what it's going to say, it's going to have your picture, and it's going to say NC for no class, NC12. That means you don't have a class first or second period. So when you report third period and try to come in through the front office or through the ROTC gate in the back of school, you will need to show your ID so that we know, okay, you don't have class the first 2 periods, you're allowed to enter campus third period, and we can buzz you in. Without having this ID, then we're going to make you go through the procedure of having to check somebody in, whereas you can just flash your ID, we hit the buzzer, and we let you in school. So any students with a no class between now and September 1st, that's our cutoff date, you need to go to the Media Center or room 314 and say, hey, I got a no class, I need to get an ID. You don't have to wear it, you just have to show it when you come in the building. All right, visitors. We really don't do visitors at NHS. You do have to report to the attendance office, but we don't allow, ex-students to come visit teachers and whatnot. It have to have a valid academic reason to be here. And we do encourage parents to volunteer. There is a process to get cleared to be a volunteer at school, so tell your parents we'd love to have their help. We have hit the page that says attendance. We are on the top. There's no page numbers, but find the attendance page. Absences. Absences are becoming an issue at all schools of kids just missing school. People get sick, we get it, it happens, but when at all possible, you need to be in class where you can learn. So see the chart there that says absences 1 through 9. A parent or doctor's note received within 5 days can excuse your absence. Absences 10 through 15, it takes a doctor's note only. So you've missed 9 days, you got a headache, you're not going to go to the doctor for a headache. Well, then it's going to be an unexcused absence because you already missed 9 times. And then no work will be made up after 15 absences. After 15 absences, you have to go to an attendance appeal committee for us to understand why you've missed so much school. Kids get in car accidents, kids have surgeries, still go to the attendance appeal committee for us to approve that you can make up your work because you've missed too many days of school. There are some examples listed of what may constitute an excused absence: a death in the family, an illness or injury, appointments for medical or dental care, religious holidays, or a written note from a parent explaining that the student was absent for whatever reason. But again, that's only 1 through 9. Unexcused absences, these will always be considered unexcused. Truancy, you failed to report to class or school because you did so. Off-limits violation, you're here on campus but you're not in the right class, you're going to be marked absence. An unexcused absence. Suspension or any absence not excused by a parent note within 5 days. You miss school on a Monday, you better have that note in by a Friday because you only get 5 days to turn in a note. College visits, juniors, you can take a college visit within the year, and seniors, you can take 2 college visits up to the year. Go by the front office and you're going to see Mrs. Jolly in the front office. It says Miss Wallace, but that's an old person, no longer works here. Miss Jolly in the front office will have the college visit forms. Those have to be pre-approved. You can't come in and say, I went to FSU on Friday, so I need to get that absence excused. It's got to be pre-approved. Driving privileges. If you have 15 unexcused absences within 90 days, we turn you over as being habitually truant, and the Department of Motor Vehicles pulls your driver's license, and then you cannot get it back until you have attended school 30 consecutive days. Think about that. 30 days in a row, and you've already been someone who's missed a lot of schools. That's a stomach ache. That's a doctor's appointment. 30 consecutive days. So if you get to the point where you lose your license for attendance, the chances of you getting it back during the school year are not real good. Late arrivals and tardies. Tardy to school. School starts at 7 o'clock every day. If you arrive after 7:25, you're considered absent. You have to check in through the front office. When you get to the discipline matrix in the back, you can see how many tardies you're allowed to have per class period. All right, we are going to top of the next page, permission to leave. Students are to remain on campus during their regularly assigned school day. For the safety of our students, parents or guardians may sign out students by presenting proper ID, sending a written permission form note with proper notification for verification. So you're going to bring in the note that you're checking out at 10. We're going to call your parents and say, you wrote this note. Is your kid allowed to check out at 10 o'clock? So don't think about writing your own note and forging your signature of your parent's name, because we're going to call to verify the note before you check out. And the quick difference between the truancy and off-limits. Truancy is defined as being absent from a scheduled class. Off-limits is being in an unauthorized area of the building. You want to sneak out, play a little basketball during biology class, that's off-limits. We have made it to the top of student conduct. So we're going to hit a few highlights there, but definitely let you read this on your own about school discipline. I read to you the general policies in the Green Book. There you're going to see the discipline matrix for the Okaloosa County school system. It lists pretty much most of any offenses that could happen on campus, and then how many times you may have done that thing, and then what the disciplinary consequence you can expect to get. That is not an end-all, be-all. Some other things could be assigned, but that is going to give you a good idea of what you can expect if you break the rules here at Niceville High School. All right, skipping over to the top of the next page where it lists alcoholic beverages. So these are actions described warranting an automatic out-of-school suspension. Alcoholic beverages, drugs, fighting, forgery, plagiarism, so consequences for forgery, go see the discipline matrix. Plagiarism or cheating, you can go to the discipline matrix and see that. Then go into technology use, tobacco, trespassing, weapons, you name it. So this is going to list for you the next couple pages about disciplinary infractions. I am on the middle of the next page, the Niceville High School dress code. On this one, I am going to read in great detail for you. Students shall not wear clothing, pins, jewelry, accessories, or adornments that display obscene, profane, derogatory, or violent gang-related message, prevent alcohol use, drug or tobacco, or messages that promote illegal activities. Clothing that exposes the midriff or cleavage. Clothing that is inappropriate in length. The length is defined by a clenched fist length at the side of a student. Head coverings or accessories that are not related to students' religious practices. Mr. Wagner is a hawk on that. You're not going to pull your hood, take your hood off, and take your hat off when you're inside the building. Inappropriate footwear, included but not limited to bedroom slippers and unfastened shoes or shoes missing closures. Don't wear pajamas and slippers to school, and don't bring blankets. It's not even, don't bring a blanket to school and a pillow. It's not nap time. All right, items intended for outdoor use, hats, caps, trench coats. Underwear as outer garments. Don't know why you'd want to wear that. That would look silly. Pants, skirt, or shorts that sag below the waistline, and then added last year, be very clear about this, costume wear such as tails, ears, non-related health masks, capes, wigs, artificial hair, etc. I know that got kind of popular across the street at the middle school. Do not come across the street with your ears and tails on. That is not allowed at Niceville High School. All right, and then you can check the discipline matrix for the disciplinary actions taken for dress code violations. And then again, I'm going to read the zero tolerance infractions on the bottom of the next page to be sure we all understand those. We have endorsed a zero tolerance policy for school-related violent crimes. Following appropriate due process, a student charged with a felony, if committed by an adult, whether it occurred on or off school property, will not be permitted to participate or attend any extracurricular activities to include or not limited to school-sanctioned club, athletics, or student government in any way. That's Florida Statute 1006.02 if you would like to look it up. Okay, now we get into some student services stuff. I think the main thing you need to know there is on the bottom of the page with Focus Parent Portal. You're all going to need to get into Focus so you can see all your schedules and maintain your grades and see assignments and communicate with teachers and all that stuff. The schedule adjustment policies is as follows. For the first 3 days of the first or second semester, the only kids that we're going to deal with in the office about schedule changes is if you have no schedule at all, you don't have a class. It's second period and your schedule says no class. Well, you're supposed to have a class unless you signed up for a no class. Come to the front office second period. Your schedule for a class you already completed. I'm sitting in geometry and I took geometry last year. Or you're in the 11th or 12th grade and you know you need a credit for graduation. You did not get it on your schedule. We highly encourage the use of emails to your counselors. So much of this can be knocked out by you just sending an email to your counselors. This summer I signed up for Spanish and I decided I want to take French. Shoot them an email. They'll put you in French. You're not wasting time up in the office and we don't have a log jam of 100 kids up there for something as simple as that. Email your counselors. After the first 3 days until the midpoint of the first 9 weeks, for a year-long course, you got to see your guidance counselor to change that schedule, and you can only drop a class to go to a study hall. Students that elect to withdraw from a course after the midpoint, so we've gone 4.5 weeks and 9 weeks, and you decide to drop that class, you must see a guidance counselor. You will be given a study hall. It takes parent permission and only level changes. So you're in an honors class and you want to go a regular, that can be requested, but that has to take a parent conference to be able to do that to move you a level. All right, that's about it from that. We see standardized testing and again the school district equity policy on the bottom of that page. I have now shown you the bell schedule. I do want to make note that the lunch schedules are wrong in there. That is last year's lunch shifts, the first, second, and third lunch. Teachers, you should have an updated bell schedule, so please tell your students when they go to lunch. That is based on your 5th period class. So if your 5th period class is wherever it is in what hallway, that's the lunch shift you're assigned to, okay? Off the top of my head, I believe its first shift is 200, 300, 400. Second shift is 100 and 600. And third shift lunch is 500 hall and all others, chorus, bands, PE, and whatnot. So that's when you would go to lunch. So if you have second shift lunch, you go to 5th period class first. You have half your class. Then you go to lunch. Then you go back to class. First shift lunch, you report directly to the cafeteria. Third shift lunch, you finish your 5th period class, and then you go to lunch. That is it, man. I've gone through the District Code of Conduct, the Niceville High School Student Handbook. Didn't hit everything in great detail. You've got extra time in SOAR class to read through these. Read through this. This is an opportune time for you to ask your teachers any question. If you're new to Niceville High School, you're a freshman, or if there's just been some changes and updates that you heard me say that went, wait a minute, we didn't do that last year, let the teachers explain that to you. Again, Mr. Morello, principal of Niceville High School, available to you at all times. Doors always open. Got a question, got a concern, got a complaint? Come talk to me. Let's make your experience at Niceville High School the best that it could possibly be. Let's have a great year, and as always, go Eagles!